Have you ever been sat there after completing and quite possibly platinuming the From Software back catalogue and thought,
I need another fix. I can't wait until Elden Ring. What the hell am I going to do?
well, Souls gamers across the spectrum are rejoicing at the wide range of indies and AAAs available that collectively form the Souls-like genre. And in my personal opinion, Mortal Shell is the king of them all. First and foremost, the thing that struck me most was when the credits rolled. It lasted for a minute or so, compared to AAA titles that have credits for 45 minutes and beyond. Now, what made this so mind-blowing was how slick the game functions and how the graphics shine brighter than any indie I had played before. I was playing on a standard HD TV and a base hit PS4, and still this game reflected a quality normally seen by a 1,000+ development team. It's an immediate flash of potential of what Cold Symmetry can achieve in the future. But for now, back to Mortal Shell. Even before the game began, I was invested. The mechanics of finding a dead warrior and renting their bodies as a mortal shell is a refreshing and original stamp of authority. The game's presentation with menus, locations, weapons and enemies all getting big fat ticks even before a light attack had been thrown out. All that was left to wonder was whether the game itself could deliver, and in short, yes, it really could. The game introduces your character as a fleshy, naked, faceless ghoul, a wraith for review purposes. It's not long until you find your first rent-a-body, and the marshy swampland that makes up the central hub opens up for exploration. The razor-sharp focus on 4 major weapons that correlate with 4 shells you can inhabit shows a manageable scale that gives the experience huge depth where less really is more. The warriors themselves are divided into classic RPG classes. You have Eredrim, the Strength class, Teal, the Endurance, Robocop, the Resolve Master, and Patty Cake, the basic wholesome mix of the other 3. Each character has their own unique skill tree to build upon, and the ability to switch and interchange who you play with through any playthrough is a bona fide plus. Ideally, players will find their preferred character and weapon early on and lock them in for a playthrough, but having the ability to test and change is very welcoming. From my experience with the Souls series, I went for my personal favourite, Mr. Smash World's Strongest Man 2008, Eredrim. The difficulty spike in the early game makes for some testing moments, but the more you pump into your character, it tends to tail off at the end. That isn't to say it's without its testing moments. The dim gate location is a real test of patience and precision, and for this alone, it is a massive highlight of the game. The other 2 mechanics that sets this game apart is the hardening ability, where your protagonist can turn itself to rock during combat, and the fog mechanic, where the world turns to shit and every enemy morphs into Venom from the Marvel series, and you're a film critic who just told them he's a really shit character in a really shit film. The hardening ability is a unique showstopper that can turn any bad boss fight into your greatest battles highlight reel. It saved my skin a handful of times, and even the cooldown is manageable once you get comfortable with the timing. In terms of originality, Cold Symmetry just kicked down the door and shat gold. As for the fog or mist, it's tied directly to the main objective of the game. Each landscape you must cross contains something called a knotted gland. Either someone developing this game is a Hunter S. Thompson fan or they are really bang into drugs, because these glands look like the adrenochrome that's fueling all the villeri that consumes each part of the map. Once you strip an area of its gland, the world is consumed by the fog or mist. The benefit is there's a litter of goodies to collect in locked chests around the game that only open once the fog is activated. The bad news is, pissed off Venom's back and a gang of other monsters want to eat your face. Once you get back to the base of operations, you can give these glands to a cracked up giant dog that is literally imprisoned inside a wall, and he will lift the fog. So far, so video gaming. Without ruining the plot too much, your objective is laid out in retrieving these glands, but for what purposes, you'll have to find that out yourself. Every location has been beautifully designed in a varying amount of ways. Fulgrim, which is home to the tower, has a Boletaria-esque quality to it, and being a Souls veteran, I felt right at home in this world. The Eternal Narthex had shades of 2018's God of War, carrying an over-exuberant, godly aesthetic that the aggressive Norse Skylords would be proud of. With Mortal Shell being a brutal action RPG, the real question is, how do the combat mechanics function? It follows a similar control layout to its direct inspiration, which for me is an absolute must. When Neo presented itself with the square button as a light attack, I never really could adjust, as petty as that is. Stamina management plays a vital role in combat, and the weapons and shells control the power and agility you can attack with. But of course, it's the hardening ability showstopper that makes the combat function beyond. Parrying done right can feel pretty OP, but nothing tops hardening and attacking once an enemy's guard is down. Mortal Shell, as mentioned before, has a runtime that won't take up weeks or months of your time, but for a debut from a brand new studio, this isn't an issue in the slightest. The developers have doubled down on the strengths they knew they could implement and made the game function to its maximum potential. Given a bigger budget and an expanded team, it's crazy to think what Cold Symmetry can achieve. All I do know is, I'll be waiting with bated breath on even a glimmer of news. Mortal Shell is a ride that wears its influences on its sleeve. Some games before have failed miserably doing this, but in the case of this Souls-like bruiser, I'd choose it to fight my corner every time.